Hey everyone, on today's episode, Chris and I are talking all about the idea of should you niche down or should you stay very wide? Hey everyone, welcome back to Contractor Growth Network. I'm Logan.
And I'm Christopher James Livingston.
And today we're talking all about the idea of, and this is, before I even say what the idea is or what we're talking about, actually you probably heard in the intro, this is one of the number one largest problems I see contractors deal with, okay? It is their own damn fault. They can't blame the customer. They can't get frustrated at the homeowner. They do it to themselves over and over and over again. And what this is they are not specific and clear with what services they provide and who they provide it to. And let me give you an example of how it manifests. You're going to have a company who says, yeah, we are a high-end remodeling company. But what do? They get a lot of people calling them up for drywall work. Hey, could you come hang my TV? Hey, I think my gutters are full. Could you come out and fix this? And it's not the homeowner's fault because Chris, in your honest opinion, do you think the homeowner enjoys wasting their time and the contractor's time?
They don't enjoy it at all. And I think what happens is contractors have been so maybe indoctrinated into the situation because just how you described it, my mindset goes to this. The contractor says, well, hey, I said high end. So that should mean this, this, and this, and this. But I'm a homeowner and I glaze past the idea of high end because I deserve high end because I'm a customer. Yeah. And high end, what does that mean? And you just do remodeling. Well, I'm remodeling my home. I need some drywall put up. Don't you do this for me?
And so it's the specificity around what you do is super vague. Now, it's a little bit different with, let's say, cars, because if I said a high-end car, Chris, what are you thinking?
Anything outside the Kia range.
Okay.
So probably like a Lamborghini, Porsche, Audi, those kind of like.
So let me throw one at you. Now, if I said supercar, what are you thinking?
Probably like a turbo, something like sport or something like that.
Okay. Now, if I said a basic economy car, what are you thinking?
Sadly, Kia,
Toyota,
like Honda.
Yeah, stuff like that. We know that. Now, if I said to you, like, hey, Chris, I got some large boulders in my front yard. What do you think in your mind large boulders weighs?
I don't know, 45 pounds.
Okay. I'm thinking large boulders is 2,000 pounds. That's a ton.
Yeah. Well,
you see the difference?
Yeah.
And this is the problem here is that a lot of contractors say stuff like this. Chris, what percentage of the remodelers that I talk to do you think when I ask them, who do you work with? They say, we work with, we do high-end remodeling for mid to upper class. What percentage do you think say that?
Every one of them, because everyone is trying to get into that market.
100% of the people that I talk to that do that, in whether it's remodeling, landscaping, painting, they all want to get to the people that make at least about $100,000 a year. They want to get into that realm. Yet, it's so like they don't. It's not like oversaturated because it's really not. Like, you may look around and go, well, there's so many people here that already do this stuff. How can I ever do it? No, like they all do the same thing. You could very easily stand out. And the biggest problem here is that in order to sell, you need to transfer two things: confidence and clarity. Now, the confidence piece, a lot of contractors have. Yeah, I can make that happen. Don't worry. Right? Now, it's up to the homeowner if they're confident that you can actually do what you say and if they trust you. But the clarity piece around what it is that you do is the biggest issue, because if you are saying stuff like, yep, we do our high-end builder, high-end general contractor.
Or even worse, we do it all.
Oh God, that's, and because we've talked to people like that. Oh yeah, anywhere from, patching up some drywall up to like building a home from the ground up, we can do it. And I'm like, okay, so who do you actually go after then? Well, anybody that wants that. I'm like, okay, so anybody with a pulse?
And they marginalize themselves so heavily when they do that. And what I mean by that is this. When I go looking for a high-end, whatever it may be, I don't go looking in a thrift store. I don't go look for Gucci clothes in a thrift store. The same way, if I was in Gucci and I saw some thrift store stuff, I wouldn't buy it. It's so hard, and maybe even, I won't say impossible because I'm not going to go to that realm, but you're shooting yourself in the foot at that point by now saying you do everything. That's one of the hardest sells I could even imagine at this point.
Yeah, but don't homeowners want a one-stop shop?
This is not Walmart, even with Walmart, I'm not expecting myself to get the highest end things I'm going to get. I have an understanding of this is kind of where the cutoff is. So that one-stop shop is great, but I think it comes from a place of scarcity. And I may be wrong on that, but I think it comes from a place of, well, I want to provide everything so I don't miss out on anything.
And there is there is a level of one-stop shop is good, right? We work with painters where they also have like a carpenter on staff. So if there's siding that is rotted and they need to put up new siding, they don't have to hire that out. But what you don't want is a we do it all where it's like it's such a wide range that you're trying to sell a Kia next to a Lamborghini on the same lot. And now it's confusing because do you go to them for a Kia? Do you go to them for a Lamborghini? Or do you go to them for something in between? We don't know. So guess what homeowners do? They don't go to you at all. Or they go to the Lamborghini dealership looking for a Kia. They sure as hell don't go to the Kia dealership looking for a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
So taking a step back on all this taking on every project that you can, this is common in every business for the most part, right? Especially contracting, marketing, it's also very large. It's very widespread where when you first start off, you don't care what the project is. If you can do it, you need money in the door. Otherwise, how are you going to put food on the table? So you start off like that. You start off doing the stuff that you don't want to do, but it allows you to make some money. It allows you to hire a crew, and now you're off to the races. You got a business. But there's a certain point that if you keep it with this wide net, then it actually starts to hurt you because one, you end up taking on projects that you don't want to do because people do not look at you as the leader here, and two, your actual profitability and scalability drops because when you have to essentially have somebody who's really good and efficient at plumbing and roofing and also build a custom home, it's so all over the place that how can you really get good and get efficient at one thing? Like imagine if the people at Chipotle had to not only learn how to wrap burritos, they also had to learn how to fry up chicken, make pancakes, and do like fish and chips. Like you can't.
You really don't allow for that person to even get good at it. Like you're shooting yourself in the foot in so many avenues. And, think about the burden you're now putting on your crew. Mm-hmm. Think about the crew that, we're trying to stay employed and we're not trying to stay busy, but at the same time is last week we did a kitchen remodel and where we were doing all these crazy things with tile and installing this and that. But now, this week I'm doing a pergola. And I'm like, yes, there's some marginal crossover, but at the same time is I haven't got the reps on doing this. Like you're putting me in a bad spot. And it's just silly for us to think that the customer is going to buy any differently than you and I buy. I do not plan on going to Apple to buy any food. I don't plan on going and saying, hey, where can I buy the best cuisine from Apple? I know that's a total off branding, but the idea is I know better, right? Because it's very clear that if I want something technology-wise, I'm going to go to Apple.
And Apple, on top of that, they only sell a handful of products. Yeah. An iPhone, a laptop, computer, iPad, and like headphones. And a watch. Right? And a watch, and then like a pencil. But, they're like the biggest model for first off, they're the largest company in the world. First to ever hit the trillion mark. I think they're now at 2 trillion. And they only really sell a couple dozen products, but of those couple dozen products, it's really like the same product, just in different colors.
And you know exactly where to go to get these products.
You know where to go. You know how to make it all work. So that's a huge part of it is you don't have to be a Walmart. You don't have to sell everything under the sun.
And the way Walmart is profitable is because of the fact that it's such a huge inventory.
The volume. It's a volume game there. And so and here's another aspect of it, I talked to a guy today that we're about to start the website and stuff for, and he was asking me, he's like, he said, my hometown only really has 100,000 people here. How, I want to get up into the larger city that has 900,000. How do I show up there? And I was like, okay, first off, how many people in your town actually know you? Are you a household name? He was like, well, not as much as I should be. I'm like, okay, so as we're working through this, we started to realize that where he wanted to take his business, who he wanted to help, how much money he wanted to make, that's all very, very, very possible in his own hometown. He doesn't need to go somewhere else. So I also see a lot of contractors do the same thing where they're saying stuff like, well, I want to expand into the big city. Okay, well, you don't live in the big city. You live in podunk, nowhere, which is totally cool because that's the lifestyle that you chose. It's very hard to get into those larger areas that are far away from you, but yet your neighbors don't even know that you exist. So why would you spend, and I know the reason why, but the idea is, why would you spend all that extra energy and effort to try to go somewhere big versus just focusing on your own area right there?
Do you think that, like, what are the biggest pains besides the fact that, okay, well, yeah, maybe someone doesn't know exactly what I do. Maybe I have to talk to someone who's asking for me to do, simple work when I, am expecting, like, what are the biggest pains that it kind of provides when I don't niche down to those few products?
So one of the biggest issues here, we'll talk about on both sides of this spectrum. So first, we'll talk with customers. Customers get confused. Customers go through decision fatigue. Customers don't want to deal with somebody who doesn't know what the hell they're doing. It's the same reason why, and from their side as well, like, imagine, you're going to a place where all they have is a few different things on the item. On the menu, a few different items on the menu, a restaurant, versus a Greasy Spoon diner. Greasy Spoon diner has every food known to man. But when you have every food known to man, for you, Chris, you're looking at the diner's menu. How long do you think that fish has been sitting in the freezer for?
Exactly. And plus, you don't go to a Greasy Spoon place expecting any kind of quality.
No, you go there because it's cheap, it's typically quick, and they have something for everyone. However, if that's how you want to position yourself, that's fine, but then your prices have to match that. You can't get mad when you are a Walmart or a Greasy Spoon diner and then say, well, for this fish, this is great quality fish, and you have a good experience when you're here. We're really nice to you, so this fish is $35. No, because it's been frozen sitting there for 3 weeks because nobody else has bought it. So you have to do a self-audit on this stuff of, if you are offering all these services, you're probably not the expert, whether the actual expert in the quality of the work or the expert in the experience. Because if you think about it, let's just say rich people, right? We'll just call it out. The high-earning people that make a lot of money that you want to go after as a contractor, if they make enough money, let's just say like they're really upper echelon, they make enough money for them, the actual money of the project's not as big of a deal as how fast can they get it done.
The experience too.
So, and then the speed goes into the experience. It all plays together. So they're less focused and they're okay with spending the big money. I mean, they bought a $200,000 car because for them it's worth it. So it's not an actual money piece. But when you say, yeah, we can get this project done and we can paint your bathroom, it's going to cost $5,000 and we'll get it done in 8 weeks. Like, they don't want that. They want it done now. So there is a factor of that where when you do it all, you're never going to be as efficient as possible. And in 2020 and beyond, speed is the name of the game here. This is why Amazon crushes it, because this 2-day shipping, and guess what's going to happen in the next 3 years? 2-day shipping is no longer going to be good enough. Now it's going to be same day or within like 3 hours. So it's only going to get better, not better or worse, whatever you want to call it. But this is with us, with our websites. We used to take a long time. Now we can typically get them done in about a week and a half because guess what? All we do, there's very specific industries of the contracting space. So it allows us to A, put out the best product, and B, put out the best experience because this is all we do. So I know we've gotten away from contracting. We're talking more about us and what all the other, big dogs do. I put us in the class of Amazon and Apples, but this is no different because guess what? Your customers that you're listening to now, They buy from Amazon. They buy from Apple. If we sold something, they buy from us. But you then turn around and sell to them a different way, and they get frustrated. They're okay with spending $1,100 on an iPhone that, when it came out 10 years ago, was only like $300 or $400, because it's now a way of life, and they expect this high quality experience from Apple because that's what they get. But then we turn around and say, well, we're also like Apple. You better pay us a lot of money. And it's like, yeah, but your experience is nothing like that. And we also don't even know what the hell you do. So when you don't niche down, it frustrates the customer, and then it frustrates you and your team because your profits will drop. You'll never be able to be as efficient as possible, which again makes your profits drop. Plus, you're going to have less people coming in the door wanting to work with you because they don't actually know exactly what they should hire you for.
What is the decision process? So if I can kind of put myself in the contractor's shoes, I'm a contractor. I'm not doing as well as I would really want to do. So, I love to do this idea of kitchens and baths, but right now I offer a couple other things. I do maybe some roofing because I've done it a couple times. I do a couple other plumbing things and whatever it may be because I want to make sure that I don't miss out on the money. What does my thought process need to look like so I can be able to jump off that ledge, stop doing things the wrong way, and put myself in this space where I'm being most effective?
So it is a scarcity versus abundance mindset. Scarcity is going to go, I have to keep taking on all these other jobs because otherwise I'll never make ends meet. Versus the abundance, here's what happens. Here's why I talked to the same guy today. We talked about staying in his own hometown. I said, look, here's what's going to happen is we're going to say we're going to maximize just this hometown. Now, what this is going to do is this is going to put a bit of pressure on you. Your back's not necessarily against the wall, but you're going to have the pressure to now make it happen in your hometown. And guess what? Pressure is good. Pressure is what makes diamonds, right? Pressure will make you grow in a way that if you didn't put the pressure on yourself, you wouldn't grow. So first off, you need to be of the mindset that you need to put pressure on yourself, because if you're staying in your comfort zone and your homeostasis where your body's like, nope, we're good, we're just going to keep doing all this stuff, you won't change. So when people come to us, it's funny, like when you cold call people and you're like, hey, we do things a little bit different, and they're like, okay, and you're like, are you even open to the idea of changing up your process? And they're like, no, we're not. And you're like, okay, cool, have a good day. So it's a very short conversation. So you have to be okay with being uncomfortable and telling people no, which, trust me, we told somebody no the other day, and then they called somebody else, and that person called me and was like, Logan, was that a sales tactic? I was like, no, we just weren't a good fit. I'm okay with telling people no if it's not a good fit. It's not like I'm doing it as a tactic, but it will force you to essentially shit or get off the pot. So we got a guy that we know, he's probably listening to this honestly at this point, and he wants to get more into deck building, right? He's a handyman right now, wants to get more into decks, but guess what? Anything online that you see about him, Chris, what does it point to?
It's all handyman stuff, man.
So what do you think people, when they hear his name and look him up, what do you think they think he does?
Handyman. I mean, not only is it handyman stuff, is when I think of a handyman, that's not, if I'm looking for not just someone who knows how to do a deck. I want someone who decks is their thing.
Because what happens if it's built incorrectly?
I don't want them practicing in my backyard.
Right.
I don't want them, this is part of their, this service project, and they're going to figure it out in my backyard.
Right.
No, I want someone who's able to say, no, I do decks. And yes, I may have I know how to put a chest tube in somebody. I physically know how to do it. But there's doctors for that.
Right.
They should be doing that. I know how to, I can go on YouTube and I can probably figure out some code stuff, but that's not what I do. So I need to make sure that I don't, just because I have an idea or knowledge about it, it doesn't put me in the right space. But just to answer your question, he wants to do decks, but everything you see on his presence of his marketing online, on his website, is promoting handyman services.
And what I'm saying here is, and what we're talking about, you don't have to tell people no. If somebody calls you up, says, hey, I saw that you painted this person's bedroom, looked good. Could you do it for me as well? Well, if you get no other work going on, you could take it. We're just saying from a marketing perspective, it's easier for people to move forward with you because they trust you if you just really focus on a few things. So when it comes to this idea of niching down, right, there's a quote that's the riches are in the niches. Also, niches get stitches.
It end up in ditches.
Yeah. You don't have to say no to everything until you're at that point. Now, the faster you start saying no, the more that stuff will come back to you as yes. But if you are casting such a wide net and hoping like hell that everybody comes in, it's just not going to work. You're not Walmart. You're not Alibaba. Be more like an Apple. But guess what? If you go on Apple's website, they also sell Beats by Dre. They sell other computer monitors. They sell complementary items. But how often do you see Apple promoting a Beats by Dre headphone on like in a commercial? You don't.
Yeah, you don't see them promoting mouse. They don't promote mouse pads. They don't promote iPhone cases.
But you can buy all that stuff there.
You can buy all that stuff, but the reality is from a marketing standpoint, it is very clear what their flagship products are, and those are the things that they advertise about.
So we'll wrap it up like this, guys. So the more that you are very clear and you provide that clarity to customers about what it is that you do and who you help, that's the other big piece of this. Who you help being, if you want to go for high-end clients, Chris, what kind of quality does your pictures have to be on your website?
It's got to be high-end. It has to be something that is going to appeal to those people. If you have, and I'm just going to call it out, if you made your website yourself, and this is the only website you've ever made, and you haven't made 10 websites in your life, and it has not been effective for you, it is damn near impossible for you to get the message across to that high-end person that is going to go forward with your high-end project through your website if it looks DIY.
Because if it looks DIY, you will attract DIYers. And most contractors they complain, oh, this homeowner wants to do this themselves and they want to help, like, screw that. And it's like, okay, well, who did your stuff? Well, I don't have the money. Okay, well, maybe they don't have the money, and now you're mad at them. But, if you're a DIYer, you attract what you're putting out, so you are attracting DIYers. So for all this stuff, guys, you got to dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have, if you're attracting the wrong type of clients. So again, if you are going for high-end people, and you want people who live in homes that cost at least $500,000, and your website only shows, trailers, well, that's who you're going to attract. So figure it out. Show the people what they can expect from you and show it to the right people, and you're good. If you want to learn more about this stuff, go to our Facebook group, Common Sense Contracting. We've had a few at this point, really good lives. It's a lot of stuff. I was explaining this to somebody the other day, or yesterday, actually. We just finished up a website with him, and I was like, are you in the group? And he was like, no, I've been trying to get in, but I was like, all right, whatever. When you want to join, because what it's going to do is it's going to show you these little shifts in your business that you probably already do a little bit of, but you don't recognize that you do. And when you start to implement this stuff, it will be game on. It will be completely different because you'll now start to pick up on the high-level things. Like a lot of the sales tactics that you and I go through, Chris, most people, they may not realize that what we're doing, but because it's like ingrained in who we are, we recognize it, we're able to now leverage it a little bit more. So, and we're doing the same thing with you guys. So we're showing you guys how to make it all happen, marketing-wise, sales-wise, little switches here and there. And one of it is going to be how to clearly communicate what it is that you do, and more importantly, how to not communicate that. So hop over to Facebook, Common Sense Contracting Facebook group, and we'll see you over there.
All right, guys, take care.
Thank you.